makes all the pretty girls want to dance my salsa. Whoa, 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 look out for my next single, it's called my salsa. My salsa, 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 salsa. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance and take off their underpants. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance and take off their underpants. My salsa.
Looks like somebody's been down here with the ugly stick. Let's go.
Can I get a phone that plays the Mexican head dance?
I insist on it.
I dance, I dance, I dance around the Mexican hat. I dance, I dance, I dance, and that's the end of that. Or is it? I guess I'll keep singing. My cell phone appears to be ringing.
Uh-huh.
Solve the mystery.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tinfoil Sombrero on allegedly October 12th, 2025. And, in the spirit of, you just took something off that I had pulled up. Hold on. In the spirit of October, which was, our favorite Flattoberfest kind of month. It's not this year. I wanted to play something that I always kind of like to play in October because I just think it's important. Hold on here just a second. I want you guys to enjoy this in the spirit of Oktoberfest.
Und was der Fichtel uns jetzt gleich sagen wird, das werden wir uns anhören. Mit von der Partie die Woodies.
Oh yeah. How stoned are these guys? They smoked all the pot. Yeah.
Ich bin der kleine Fichtel von Zaubernhand und bitte euch, ihr Leute, gebraucht Verstand. Unser Leben ist bedroht, hilft uns niemand, droht uns Not. Und ihr Menschen werdet nie mehr glücklich sein.
Tell me these guys are just not baked off their mind.
Ihr lieben Menschenkinder, nun
Who's that? What character is that?
Das Leben schwer. Achtet stets auf Umweltschutz, sonst gehen wir kaputt vom Schmutz. Und die Mutter Erde gibt es bald nicht mehr. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Oh yeah. Is he even really playing that log Congo? Okay. There you go. There you go.
What's up, guys?
Sorry to have put you guys through that experience, but you have to do it once every year in October, and that was the key, man. Welcome to Sombrero, guys. Special guest tonight, Vlad Ironwork 92,000, and we've got him just for a short amount of time tonight, so I don't want to burn up. We had a bunch of videos we're going to show, but I want to get right to it. By the way, how are you, Vlad, and how are you, Rico?
Hey, Rico, Lowry, Nico. I appreciate y'all for having me on.
Yeah,
Say again?
She's around.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate y'all for having me on again, man. It's always It's always a pleasure. It's always an adventure. Thank you again for guesting me up. Shout out to you, Rico, as well, for having me, man. It's always a good time to kind of link up with other flat earthers and discuss flat Earth and things related to it. So
Yeah,
thank
man, and
you.
thanks for having me on your show last night too. Appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem, man. Anytime. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a question to get us started since we have a short. Today's show is short, guys. Just to let you know. But before we get started there, let's go ahead and talk about your app.
Oh, yes, indeed. Actually, it's funny that you call it my app because it's called the Hours. It's pronounced the Hours. It's spelled OWRS, or it's the Old World Ruins and Structures app. And so basically, yeah, and so basically what it does is it doubles as a place marker, right, for old world ruins and structures. We don't have anything similar to this in the community. People would argue that they would say, hey, you have Google Earth and you have Google Street, but Google Earth and Google Street belongs to Google Earth and Google Street. The community doesn't have anything. And again, this is not Vlad's app. This is ours, OWRS, right? The way it's spelled, it's pronounced the way it's read out. And so it basically does that. You go out, you see something that does not look like it belongs here. In other words, like a ruins or a structure, for example, would be a set of stone bricks, right? That doesn't belong in our time frame. You would take a picture of that, and then it would go along with your pin marker where you are at that time, and that perspective that you're getting it at, and then taking that picture that one time would appear on the map as a faint image. And so the more you take those,
So when
the more
you find
that
one of these old videos, you just snap it and use your metadata, and when people are in that city, they'll be able to find these old structures that are obviously older than they're telling us.
Yes. And so basically, you know how Jared Boosters and them gets down, right? So we're talking the Jared Boosters, the Lucius Aurelians, the John Levi's, and the My Lunch Breaks and stuff, right? I Am Cairo, something like that. So guys like that. And shout out to Shawnee B. I know Shawnee B is one of those that appear in the Foundry from time to time, and he might also be part of the Tinfoil Sombrero as well. So shout out to him. He's one of ours. And so guys like that, guys that go out and do the groundwork, this basically allows them to see what's in and around their area if the people live by these structures that we're not so sure about what they are, when they are, right? Or when they're from. And so the app allows you to take that picture, and the more people start taking those pictures, because they would be in that area, if they're in the area and they take a picture of that same structure, at first it'll start out faint, but then over time, it'll begin to solidify. You understand? Based off of, it's like the more times you take pictures of that structure, the more it becomes, I guess you could say, palpable and concrete to the rest of everybody else. And so, and for example, like I was saying, you have these brick structures out here in Virginia. You have a lot of them, right? And then they're covered up in earth. But then once the earth is gone and it exposes these brick structures, then you don't know what the hell you're looking at except for a big giant brick wall, right? And these aren't your traditional red bricks or brown bricks either. These are stone bricks, and you don't know what they belong to. And so what it does is you don't have to know, but you could take a picture of it. And so ultimately what it does is it allows for somebody that either may know or may have relatives that do know or think they know, it would help add a piece to their puzzle, or it might bring their puzzle together. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not just for our sake, right? But it's also for the guys, like I mentioned, the Jared Boosters, the John Levi's, right? The My Lunch Breaks and stuff like that go out and they do this kind of work on a daily basis. And this is basically the meat and potatoes of their channel. And so they have this resource to fall back on, and it helps them with their research. And this would start here in America, and then ultimately I would like for it to be elsewhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
Boston Ray does a lot of that stuff too.
I apologize. Say again.
Boston Ray does a lot of that stuff too.
yeah, we've got some mud flooders that hang out over here. I want to say mud flooders, old world people that I've never. This is interesting because I don't. No one's really thought this up yet. It's like it's almost like a finder map for objects that are out of place. Am I getting this right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, you want to know something, man? It's go ahead, Rico.
Well, I was just going to say, I can see what you're talking about by the more people shoot it, the more, angles of different buildings you have, and it'll just build over time and give you more of a layout. Like, I can totally see what you're talking about. Like, I think that's amazing. Like, I don't know that there is a video for Old World or an app for Old World. So that's really cool.
Oh, we might have lost him there.
Yeah, man,
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And you know what, man? I think the kudos will be for us. It's not even for me, man. It'll be us because my thing is like I've been putting this app out there, and the reason I'm crowdfunding is because apps are expensive. You understand? And so right now, again, I'm going to drop the link to the pooling for the app, right? And so that's it right there. That's the link to the pool, right? You don't have to break bank and contribute, right? But any amount helps. We're almost at our goal for phase one. It's divided into 3 phases for the production of this app. We're at phase one right now, and we're almost at our goal. We're like $50 away from our goal. And this again, yeah, go ahead.
I just put the link up in the chat, and I will also let's see if I can pin it to. Keep going. Tell us more about this. What's going on with this?
Yeah, man. So this is our resource, and the thing I love about it is that it will be a flat Earth driven map, right? And this is just another step in the direction of educating the young people that you don't take for granted what it is that you see because it might not be when they said it came from. You understand? Don't take what these guys are saying for granted. Don't believe that bullshit. And I think part of us properly educating everybody and re-educating the miseducated is showing them that we don't know what the fuck this place is. Excuse my language.
Sure. No, I mean that's. I think this is a really nice like addition to like everything that's just happening out there because you think about these a lot of like just call them video games that people play. The interaction with real life has become a real thing out there
Yes.
in video game world. Well, this isn't a video game. We're talking about reality that you can actually interact with. You can be walking down a town that you've never been for, and then you've got things that start populating your map that you're at. I don't know if exactly it's going to look like that or not, but you basically can walk up and find something right in real time and use your own discernment. Say, it looks like this to me. Does it look like a silt event happened with this or a mud flood? Or, if you go all the way to meltology, you could be like, does it look like melt? Does it look like this? Did it get cooked or whatever? And like, you could just have a whole, and everyone's feeding into it, right? You've got this whole crowdsource feeding into like everything, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. And some people live in these places that are just old. Like, for example, New York City, London, Boston, right? Washington, D.C., you name it. We just live in a strange place. And so how many times has somebody sent you a picture of an old world ruin? You're like, wow, where's that? You're like, that's right around the corner from your house. It's some craziness. And you want to know something? It stays right there. It stays right there between you and that person. Meanwhile, you've got these channels that sit there and discuss this stuff on a daily basis. You've got your Jared Boost, Lucius Aurelians and stuff, lunch breaks. And a lot of these people may not be familiar with these dudes. And if they are, they might want to get the picture of the guys, but the guys might be like, yeah, I'm working on this actually. And it's like, you know what? We're so spread out. Now we have good intentions, but we're so spread out. This will at least be able to consolidate a lot of this visual information in one place. You understand what I'm saying? And make it easy for everybody.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is like you get the app, you sign up. Obviously, you're going to want your location settings on all this. I know that's been a topic with a lot of people. It's like I don't want to be found. Well, no, this is part of the process of gathering information. You can say here's where it's at. It locates where you are. You can
That's
add a
right.
picture or video. You can add notes, or you can have maybe even have a chat that runs along with that particular
Oh
location.
wow.
Yeah.
I can see. I didn't realize exactly. I knew you were talking about the chat or the app last night, but I wasn't sure like what direction. But now I'm starting to see kind of what it is that you're going for here. It's a collection. You're doing a collection
Yeah.
service, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Like all, and like all apps, it'll grow. Like
Yes.
the more people use it, the more ideas that come along, and it'll
Absolutely.
organically it'll grow into what it'll eventually be.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, it just makes it easier for us. You understand? That's me. I'm logging on from my laptop
Oh,
right there. It
Oh,
just
you're
makes
jumping on
it,
different. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So it makes it a lot easier.
I think he's transferring over to his other device here.
oh, okay. I saw that.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I mean, what a different take on, the app world. Basically, anyone can get on there and like they might have a piece of old world in their backyard that they haven't ever seen in their whole life. Like it's behind their garage somewhere is an old kiln or something like that. They're just like, I don't know what it's from or whatever. And when they start to, kind of wake up to the old world idea, which is basically like one of these kids is doing his own thing. That's what it is with buildings, right? You're like, these all look the same. And then that guy over there is not the same. And once you kind of open that door, then you get to the point where you realize that the buildings that were founded, they were just found. And those buildings are occupied, funny enough, by mostly government and maybe some museums. It's like they just founded them and then just assumed power through structure and architecture.
And Masonic halls too. Like for example, did you know the MTV Studios was in a Masonic old world building?
Yeah, there's that famous
Have you
shot.
seen that before?
Yeah, it's basically
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's where it started, but there's a really famous picture that goes around where MTV doesn't
the
stand for
corner?
music. Yeah, it doesn't stand for music TV. It stands for Masonic TV, which is not that big of a stretch. After we learned all of the things we've learned about the music business over the last 10 years, nothing would surprise me at all about them having their hands in that business. They have their hands in everything else. but
I haven't
yeah,
heard Masonic TV. I heard like empty inside
right.
MTV, but I haven't heard Masonic. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Did we get
It's
to
Can
that,
y'all hear me?
Glad? Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, I'm up there on. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's there, and the thing is, it allows us to do those things, right? Like you're talking about this Miss Lodge over at MTV's. There's a brick structure that I drive by every single day. Every single time I drive by this thing, and it's crazy that it's only relegated to my audience that I show these guys, right? Who else am I going to give it to? I give it to a Lucius Aurelian. They wouldn't know what to do with it, right? They'd be like, wow, this is cool. What am I going to say about it? Well, that's fine. Now, the thing is that there would be other people that have access to these places, to these things. They'll be like, hey, I see this weird structure. The more they take pictures of these things, the more it will increase the fidelity of these faint images that you'll see on the map. Also, what it doubles down as will allow you to do treasure hunt, right? It's kind of essentially. If like, hey, I live in Boston, didn't know that there's this weird thing around the corner from my house. I see it's faint. What the hell are they talking about? So let me go ahead and take a picture of it myself. It increases the fidelity of what's been captured. You understand?
Yeah, Nashville's got a whole lot of stuff, so I could just go on the app, take a shot, and I get what you mean. I don't know how it's going to work, but I get what you mean by the more photos you take of it, the more the fidelity rises. I don't get how that's going to line up, but I believe that it's going to happen. But that's cool.
I did
Yeah,
put there's a chat, or there's a link in the chat too, guys, for the where he's the fundraiser site's PayPal link that's in there. It's also up on screen. I think it's a fantastic idea. I mean, like anytime you can crowdsource like street level photography, and obviously you're going to open up debates. Some buildings are going to end up being not, and some buildings will, and people are going to be like, no, the reason why we know this isn't, or it is, check this out, and you're going to have conversations on each one of those spots.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I was
And
believe it or not, I was back in Kansas City talking old world with people that don't really explore the things that we explore. But there's a lot of people out there that are geeking out to the old world stuff. They haven't really
right.
made the connection to FE. They haven't made the connection to the broader picture of it. But the old world stuff is making a lot of sense. So they're like, who the fuck built this thing when we had horses and wagons? And they're going through that logic in their brain. Well, now you've got a site that this could also be like a bridge, to the FE umbrella, for people that aren't quite there.
Absolutely. Yes, and even for the listeners out there, and we don't even have to call them the people that are either not familiar with flat, or they care less about the flat Earth. Or they've even heard. They'd be like, flat Earth, how's it related? Now it's sparking conversation. Now you're getting these people in their brains, the wheels in their minds to turn. So it does more than what's on the surface. You understand? And my thing is, I'm excited about it because I understand. See, we see the potential from our perspectives. Imagine people that either take photography, either take pictures of the old world stuff that are out there doing stuff. They're like, I can use it for A, B, and C, and we're not even thinking that far down. You understand? Us three can see the potential behind it. Imagine somebody that actually goes out and they do this on a daily basis. You understand? So it's it could be whatever you want it to be, but it's there to function for its purpose. You understand?
Absolutely.
Now, will
I
this
can see
be in
that.
the app stores? And do you know what the price point's going to be yet?
It's gonna be free. We're gonna start it out as free, but of course, my thing is I want to keep commercials and stuff like that off of it. Right? I do not want to do the whole this you're gonna see a freaking video game or ad come up. Do not like that. Do not want to do that. I don't want to pigeonhole folks into getting the pro version just so they don't have to deal with those stupid commercials. You understand? My thing is, I want to be reasonable as possible, but the reality is not. We ain't rich. Nobody's rich. Me is right. I understand that, and this is why it's called ours. You understand? It is our app. This is our app. You can take it as far as you want. You understand? And so this is why the purpose behind the crowdfunding is what it is, right? Of course, I'm going to be putting in on a weekly basis. Once we roll into phase 2, of course, the price point is going to increase. But it's going to allow me to say, hey, I've contributed to that. And it's going to allow for you to say you contributed to the app. It is your app. So if there are certain things you don't want, right, we can pay into it and we don't need it. And then that would basically keep this app alive, and it would keep the thing to thrive. And really, it's a useful tool. This is not a BS tool. This is something that we can use because I drive past these old world structures all the freaking time. You understand? Especially being here in Virginia. It's crazy. You drive past them all the time, and to only be able to take a picture of one thing and share it with your friend, share it with like 3-4 people, and then it just stays right there. It's almost like not doing what we should be doing.
Right.
And we
Hey,
know
Vlad,
that
I just wanted to real quick, because I know you're on limited time tonight. Are you able to? We've been able to pick up everything you've been saying, so we've got the gist of it. You're a little breaking up a little bit, so I want to make sure everybody kind of gets your last, presentation, breath of air on this. I don't know if maybe you can get a little closer to the interwebs, or maybe switch an input source or something. There was just some people in the chat saying you're breaking up a little bit.
So, Vlad,
I apologize. Do I sound good now?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
that does
Do you
sound
have, do you have
better.
a working do you have a working title for this app yet? You just kind of
Yeah, it's the hours. OWR hours.
the hours. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the old world ruins and structures. And right there in the link, like you could get a little bit more detail about it. We're gonna have a meeting this Thursday on phase one. And once phase one is paid for, I'm gonna fill you guys in as to where we are progress wise. You understand?
That's rad, dude. I mean, I think that's killer. I think that's going to help everybody. I think like because everybody has once you've caught the, the old world bug. I'm just going to use old world, you mud flutter, whatever branch of it you like. You can't unsee it. You're looking around like you just suddenly that's old world. Like you'll be driving down the street, boom, 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 and then once it clicks,
Exactly.
you're like, oh, it's like that. It's like
Right,
that,
exactly.
and then
How many
people can
times
start.
do you drive? Yeah, how many times do you drive past the library and it's got like a green dome that's gotten verdigris on it over time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool, and it's so cool when you can actually see it because it brings to light a whole brand new way to look at your surroundings, and it's so obvious. It's weird how obvious these old world buildings suddenly become once you can see it. Like I lived in New York, it's full of fucking full of old world, and I couldn't believe how much was around me, like to the point where I had missed it for so many years, and then once you kind of take the blinders off and you take a look around, there's these things in every single town for the most part. In other words, maybe some unincorporated towns that don't have it, but even like your smallest town in the Midwest, you go by and like the post office is one building in town that does not look like any other house or anything.
Absolutely.
It's funny that the government took that over.
There was that cathedral near your old house in Brooklyn. That big old church with the dual. It was like a dual castle, a dual building thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it also had the rosette pattern window in the middle. I remember, and I was like, God damn, Lowry, right. And this down in Williamsburg, y'all, down in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and this is where Lowry used to live. And I was like, God damn, it's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, it's everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah, and almost every town has one
Nashville's
example.
The same way. Nashville's crazy, man, and and like you said, Lowry, like. It's stuff that you've never looked at twice. You just assume they make some buildings look like that and others that they just for some reason didn't. And they say they all came up at the same time. Well, why did they make some of them like a box and others look like a castle or something medieval,
So weird, right? A wood house next to a stone cathedral. It's just bizarre. Right. I can't believe we never thought about it before. It took a collection of a lot of people talking about this stuff. That's like, this is weird. This is weird. Yep. That place can burn down like overnight with a small house fire, and this thing, you can't move that with anything.
And then they talk about stuff like, like these really huge castle-looking buildings that are like a library. And this thing is like a monster-sized building, and it was a library for like 200 people.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Too. You're just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a post office for it looks like it would be for like a big city, like a Nashville-sized city, but they say that the population was 500 or whatever, and that stuff doesn't line up either, like at all.
Nope.
Yeah. Hey, Vlad, I know you have a go time. You have a go time, so I want to give you the floor. Give you the floor for the next 5 minutes. And
so I really appreciate you having me, man. I got to get ready to jet because I got these other things to take care of. And who the hell is calling my dang? But that's me, y'all. That's my time. I really appreciate y'all for me.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you, Vlad. Have a good one, all right?
I would like to have you back on because I do have some questions about you that I'd like to ask as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. We'll see you later, brother.
Good.
Cheers.
Later.
So there you go. It was a little broken up. Sorry, guys. He sometimes is in the car, or sometimes he's on the satellite link for internet. I've been out to his place, so it's a little remote, so it can be choppy. But I think we got, for the most part, got the gist of kind of what he's going for. I think it's cool. It's like a crowdsourced app for Old World is extremely useful. I mean, it would be really fun for us. I think people just sort of dabbling around in the subject, could have some fun just being a part of it. Going around, is this Old World shooting this? And some buildings aren't Old World, but they look very close. And then some are mud flooders, and you wouldn't know it, but they are. It's just like every single instance is just a little bit different. And it's a brand new subject too. Go ahead.
And I really like the idea of, say you're watching a little 15-minute My Lunch Break video. He can put on the bottom of the screen, he can put, the Hours app link here. So whatever building he's talking about, you can go to the app and look that up in real time. That's really a great idea.
And I like it for the fact that it's a nice little bridge for somebody to, because FE is a gigantic topic. I mean, I don't think we even appreciate how big it is and like what it all encompasses. And the old school cats have been looking at all this stuff for a long time. It was like just pure joy for us because it was like, holy cow, my mind just got blown. Well, we were used to looking at stuff like that. Whereas if you're somebody that's just like doesn't really dabble in research or dabble in fringe topics, like the Old World thing is very easy. It's just like, is there a building one of these kids is doing his own thing? It's like you could just like, that building just doesn't look like any of the rest of the buildings in town. Take the picture, put it on the app, and then you'll have a bunch of people on there either pro or con for it, and they'll be like, well, this is the reason why I think it's Old World. And it's really not that hard. I mean, most people with their own eyes can walk in their own town. If it's a reasonably sized town, you're going to find an Old World place. A lot of churches, post offices and museums and government buildings. Just start there and then compare them to, I don't know, everything else in town. And you're going to be like, where did that architect go? He must have just like died and he stopped making buildings like that. It's like that kind of argument comes in your head and you're like, wait a minute. And then you see that they made this same stuff in every single town across this place. It's everywhere. It's even it's in Japan. It's in everywhere. The same columns, the same stuff, and it's like, oh, somebody had a wrap on this place long before we rented it, right?
Yeah, I think Old World came along too, and I was and it's a good one too. I can remember. I became a flat earther in 2015. I can remember being kind of out of new stuff when I found Old World, because I was like starting to think, well, I guess that's it. There's nothing new. There's not going to be any big new surprises. And then that came along, and I'm like, oh, thank God I needed something fresh, because I got really flat earth fatigue, like bad. And like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love it, and I still love talking about it, and I still love waking people up, but I got fatigued pretty bad around 2000, because I was just, I was wearing it out, and I had, Nissan, there's 5,000 employees, and I worked there for 8 years, so daily I was talking to people about it, and I just got so sick of the talking points and everything. And then whenever the Old World stuff and even some of the mud flood stuff, I'm not a big mud flood guy. Sorry, Ray. I'm just not huge on it. I'm not saying it's not. Whoa, Ray popped up right when I said his name.
I know, I saw that too. What's up, Ray?
That's crazy. Just all that, the mud flood and the Old World stuff came up right when I had started getting flat Earth fatigue, so that was really cool.
I had the same experience.
I could not. Probably you, honestly, Ray. It was probably you that I heard from it, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember I was watching John Levi, and there was also UAP, underrated actual physicist. He's got a channel. He's really great. And then, of course, there's a lot of the guys that have come along since then. That was my next mind-blowing moment after FE was like the mud flood. I was like, holy shit. This is a brand new little subject that we can just go have fun in, like a little playpen for our minds. And we're like, okay. And, of course, there's been a lot of debate about what's this and what's that. You could spend all night just talking about the difference between different segments of Old World, mud flood, getting melted or not cooked. I know that's a tumultuous subject on its own, but it's like either way, what we're looking at is something fucking happened a couple hundred years ago. We think somewhere in
Oh
that realm, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like
And
we
I
just
agree,
built on
but I
top of
don't know why
a
Karen
garbage
Pete gets
pile.
so upset. She gets so upset at that and like the whole the airplane, jet fuel thing, and there's a few things. Someone brought
I
it
mean,
up
there's
in the chat.
topics.
Is why
Yeah,
I brought it up.
there's certain like hot button topics, but I can certainly agree on all the way across the board that something weird happened, and we built a bunch of wooden shit and steel square structures on top of something very different that existed and before this, and I like the evidence just keeps mounting. That they can't rewrite history fast enough for us to keep to because we're just discovering new things every day now on like what was this place, what did it used to be, who built it, how they built it, were they big, were they giants, or whatever, what are these giant doors, what is all this stuff that like apparently we were in horse and carriages and there's a giant cathedral that's perfectly architecturally divine, if that's the right word to use, and you're like, yeah, no, that was there, it was founded, not found. It wasn't found, it was found, which is founded, not built, not created. And so like once you get through the language of that and you start to understand, whoa, this is how they used to build, something happened, and now here we are, living in wood houses. It's weird, right?
What's
It's
that
the whole
guy's
thing.
name? Jay Dreamers or something like that? He talks about some event that calls the melt thing. I think his name's Jay Dreamers, and he talks about some kind of event that would happen that calls melting, but I forget. You know who I'm talking about? Jay Dreamers.
I've probably watched some
what's
of
he
his
talking-
content,
some
but
kind
I
of
don't. There was
shit. He's got a thing.
I've heard several different angles on it. There was first of all, there was an event. To that, I think a lot of people can agree across the board. And there's evidence of a silt event, which would be the mud flooders. From that segment, it's very clear that there's a bunch of stuff that's buried. So was that, and then if you come from the biblical perspective, you would come from, well, that was the flood. All right, so you have that. You have some other people that talk about a sky event that basically cooked buildings or melted. That's the meltologists. That's to me that's still a bit of a stretch, but
too.
yeah, I think it's interesting. I just haven't seen enough on that to not believe that it just wasn't water at scale. But at the same time, do you look at some of these buildings? It's like it looks like somebody poured lava on top of it or something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do I reconcile that?
I'm all over the
these other
place.
narratives.
I'm a Bible guy, so I kind of think it could be the flood, but I wish I could think of what Jay Dreamer says it is. It's some kind of apocalypse. If I found the word, you'd be like, oh, that.
I've got some links here that Dr. Bass. Let me just put this up.
Thing. Someone help
That's
me
his electromagnetic event or some sort of weapon we don't understand. What's funny is like the thing that I forgot about, one of the subjects
plasma apocalypse. That's it. Plasma. That's what he says.
Was kind of lost in the sauce on all this is the fasces. The fasces. Why is there a fascie in every single? Well, you look at all these statues and old paintings and everything else. They all have the fascie, which is the bundle of sticks with an axe. What is the significance of that? What is that thing? And now if you dive into it, it was like a weapon, or at least it was a symbol of power that they all used, right? Well, what is this? It's a bundle of sticks with an axe. And like, I want the chat to like go out and deep dive this again, because I think it got lost in the sauce of everything else, looking at old world, except like this one consistency.
On Parliament, and I forget where it's at in the U.S., but like, where Congress meets, it's that symbol's on both sides of the stage there. It looks like a bundle of sticks, but has like a little,
it's just a bundle of sticks that sits at the side of. It's got an axe, and there's always like the eagle holds a fascie in some pictures, and then like arrows on a fascie. It's in a lot of flags, it's in a lot of statues, but it looks like a bundle of wood with an axe at the top. And for whatever reason, symbolically, it's extremely important to whoever held power in that time frame, which I think we lost track of that little narrative that I think needs to like do a deep dive on.
Well, Congress still
and
has it on both sides of the stage, like real
very
big,
curious, right?
increasing.
Yeah, very
it's
curious.
got
And we
two huge ones there. I mean, that's an important place for them to place that. I wonder what that does.
Yeah. I mean, TV time is $1 million a second. So you choose very carefully the objects that you put on the TV while you're speaking. It's not just what you're speaking, it's what you're showing, right? And like symbology and all that stuff, it's important to understand because like if you understand the language of symbology, you can communicate with people without even saying what you're saying. You could completely have a rhetoric when you're talking on TV, talking about one thing, but behind you says the actual thing that you're talking about. And especially if you're in politics, you can get away with this communication for free. Because the press points all their cameras towards somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, well, I'll say this, but then behind me, check this out." That was one thing that
Isn't it called a
really
fascia? Is that right?
fascia. Maybe the chat knows fasci, FASCI.
Did you already say that, or did I think of it?
Fasci. I think it's a fasci. But a lot of people, want to talk about all fascies. Question the answers. Thank you. But a lot of people talk about the old world, but we're missing like this one single item that nobody knows that much about, other than that it's a weapon and it's a symbol of every single person in power. It seems like. So, what is this thing? Why do they have it? What does it mean? That'd be, I think, a kind of a key to unlocking. Some of the old world, in my humble opinion, some of the old world stuff is figuring out what that thing is. Also, the griffin, which for whatever reason, this magical beast just keeps showing up everywhere. And I'm like, so you got something that looks sort of like a lion with wings that seems to be just everywhere. So like, either they just believed in unicorns, only their unicorn was a lion with wings or whatever, and they just decided to carve a bunch of fucking, a bunch of statues with it. And you're just like, it's interesting. And then you go back to this other thing where like there was in one of the old dictionaries back from like the 50s or 60s, dragon is still in there. And under the definition, it also says rare, which means were there dragons? I don't know. It's very interesting stuff to like when you start digging into this stuff. Are they off somewhere out there that we're no longer allowed to go to? They live in a place. Are they extinct? What is the fasci? What is a griffin? Why did they carve statues about the griffin all the hell over the place? I mean, for me, just
and the eagle.
I don't know.
On the dollar
Maybe it's just
bill,
Narnia
by
thinking,
the way,
but
it has reptile eyes too. Have you noticed that? It's the quote unquote eagle that's everywhere. It has reptile eyes. It has slits instead of what it would have, like the round eyes.
At this point in time, nothing would surprise me. Yeah, like some sort of genetic hybrid.
It's got slits instead of round eyes on the dollar bill.
Hold on a second. Don't birds sort of have slit eyes anyway, or no? Cats do.
Nope.
Birds don't?
Cats do.
Okay.
Birds don't. No. Because, I was watching a video that made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
And it's clearly slits, too. It's not just, like, bad. But, what you were saying about the fascia, or if I'm saying that right, you're right. TV, like, the amount of money that goes into every second of TV you're watching is important. So for them to put that there, that's important. I bet it just means something simple like war. Or
there could be some symbolism in it or whatever. I know there's been a lot of people out there in internet land that said it holds a secret power, and it's very much a war-making weapon, and it holds the power to destroy cities. I've heard that before. Or maybe it's just a symbolic trophy that those in power keep, like whenever someone they get to keep the trophy, which is a symbol of their power. But I'd be interested, like anybody that wants to do that deep dive, I'd love to have like more stuff. Oh, there's a real good one here. Question the answers. The Russia flag of today, if you look up close, the horse is trampling over a griffin, Tartaria mascot, so to speak. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there seems to be some sort of that was the end of an era, and also your animals, that's the end of their era too. And here we are now, because people in power like to brag, and like, we conquered your this, and so we're going to remind you of it every single day when you look at our flag. This is what we conquered. And again, I'm speculating wildly here, but like it's kind of hard to deny this old world stuff, and it's really just a bridge to our cosmology. It's a fundamental bridge for people that don't know much about FE to begin with, to like walk through and get a sense of their history, because they're trying to rewrite history every single day. They do it in the moment every single day. But if you get this old stuff that they can't remove, heavy giant buildings made of marble that just don't fit the script, you can slow down their script. You can slow down their narrative script, and you can walk away from it and go out. And I think that's the what Vlad's going for on his app too, is just crowdsource this ability to understand our history and get a better handle on it. And I hope it's successful, man. I did put up the link, guys, for Vlad's app. Let me see if I still have it copied and pasted. I do.
If you pay attention to revelation of the methods, like people like us that are waking up, we can kind of tell what's going on by paying closer attention to events,
Yeah.
Like the Charlie Kirk thing is a deep rabbit hole, and I don't know which way to go with that.
I stayed out of that for like a couple weeks. I talked about it a little bit last few nights, but I just got to go with the fact that it's all theater, and they don't do some theater. It's just all theater. A complete inversion is just everything is a lie from top to bottom. They're going to capitalize on that lie and drench every last penny they can get out of it, or every last bit of spiritual power they can get out of it. To get people to act a certain way. I just can't.
I don't think he was there. Have you seen that machine where someone can step in a different machine and in real time they show up in another box, and
is that a hologram sort of? I know there's a lot of hologrammers out there.
Machine, and if you notice, that guy runs back there right away and takes down that one camera behind him. That would be some kind of hologram projector. It
would be, but they let you see it. So like anything that they let you see and it's seen, it means I just feel like that's just another rabbit hole they want you to climb down, as opposed to just like accepting it for theater for what it is. There's no crime scene, so there's no crime.
Yeah.
That's really the simplest.
That's why there's so many different versions of truthers in Charlie Kirk, because there's so many versions and ideas on what really happened. You get lost in the muck. And
that's exactly what it is.
I always say I avoid new conspiracies. I avoid them for about a week before I'll bring it up on here. On this one, I'm still not ready to bring up what I think happened, because I can't tell. Like, it's all over the place, man. There's so much crap with it.
Well, if you think about it in terms of the course of decades, right? So like, the event in September 20 some years ago took 10 to 15 years to really truly unravel, right? And then you bring it up to the present, where an elected leader was allegedly shot at and his ear magically grew back. That took about a week and a half for the internet to completely slaughter. And then this event, which I think is the same theatrical play, took about 48 hours for the internet to slaughter. And like that, like I think the script and the narratives, it's either on purpose, they're showing it to us on purpose so that we can see it. Then it begs the question, well, who's doing that, right? That goes back to the old Q narrative, like enjoy the show. But you still have the same fundamental problem. It's like, well, still somebody's doing deceiving things. And you could deceive down the rabbit hole, back and forth, compound, fracture-wise, all the way forever. As long as people are still focusing on these, chasing these things. Where I would posit, just from my personal position, there's a couple of really important things going on. First is your spiritual journey, which you do on your own. FE, I think, is number 2, because you need to know where you are, when you are, before you can make any sort of calculatable decision in your life in general. You need to know you're not spinning. Number one's your spiritual journey. That's everybody's own little thing. I never comment on that, because that's your journey, man. That's what you're going to get up to. FE is profoundly important, because you need to know where you are and when you are. And I think number 3 behind that really is just is we've got a very bad thing happening in a certain state overseas, and we've got an identifiable enemy now that you're not allowed to talk about. So these are, when you have a murdering of a lot of people, that's an issue.
Have you seen how much, like, I don't know if you use Instagram, but Instagram's feed is always full of that place, that state is bad, where that wasn't there before.
They just let some people in.
It's so much so now, it makes me feel like they're hunting down how many people like those videos to keep track of how many people are against them now.
It's a hot mess.
Everyone's waking up to it ever since they went for the West Bank.
Yeah, it's a bugger, and so like, but again, that these are, I always like to prioritize, like if we're going to talk about stuff, like these are the things that we need to address immediately. And old world is up there too. It's like that's the crossover. I think the crossover thing for a lot of people to examine their history so they can get a better sense of what happened before us, and that we can get a better sense of who we are. And then obviously knowing where and when we are. That's really super important. That's why we started this show to begin with, was just to talk about, that subject. So, but I think Vlad's onto a real good thing. I did put the link. I'm going to put the link in the chats one more time. You want to do a shout out to some of the chatters? I need to take a quick break. And
sure.
We're going to cut it short here in about 10 minutes tonight, guys, just because Vlad had to, he had something come up at the last second. But, can you give a shout out?
We're gonna play a couple of videos at the end. Yeah, I'll shout out. Go.
I'll be back in just a sec.
Yep. All right. Well, there's a lot. I wish there was just a list. There probably is. You got an old fuddy duddy here. There's probably a place where I can just pull up who's here. A lot of good people. A lot of friends here. Why is it doing that to me? Building Tano. Hey, what's up, brother? My savior, the most embarrassing night of my internet life, the hot mic. Thank you for calling me. and it couldn't have been like a worse situation to be hot mic'd either. Like, I'm so glad the whole world got to hear an argument with me and my wife. Oh my God. I didn't live that down for like a solid, God, it was a week of me just laying there on the couch, not even being able to watch TV, just going, oh my God, I hot mic that. A good friend of mine that's in chat was like, you need to go watch it. That way, I know to not do it again. Believe me, I do not need to watch it. Because I remember what we were arguing about. So, I didn't, all right, Lowry, what's up, man? Rico, hey, man, you're awesome, and you're one handsome fellow, Rico. And you know what? You're cool, too.
I see we got Roger. We got a legend in here. Roger's in the chat, too.
Damon.
Yeah, Boston, we're going to have you on again, as the old world thing comes to the forefront and conversation. We need to do another one of those episodes.
And he said he would be down being a guest correspondent too when people call out. Plain Reality, what's up? Written ER. I don't even know what that is. It looks like it. Let's see. We got here. J.R. Hartley, Reality.
And we've got, like, if this is going to be,
Risty.
October is always a very interesting month in our little world over here.
JJ. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I was just going to, as we wrap up tonight, just, there's going to be some conversations that are going to come to the forefront pretty hard and fast. I think after this last stunt they pulled with in Utah, the next one's is got to be, at this point in time, going to be so obvious to us and semi-obvious to people who don't dive into the topics that we talk about. And that's going to be something that's going to start breaking the wave, where people are going to be like, okay, we've seen enough fake shit, so what is actually real? And they're looking at things that are coming off of a plastic thing hanging off their wall, the Black Mirror, the computer screen or whatever. This is a narrative that is manufactured. It is an illusion that is manufactured in order to get you to do or to impart the notion of somebody else. That's what.
Speaking of Black Mirror shenanigans, they're picking up. Like, we're getting more, and like, it's getting to where I don't even know what to bring up. There's something new every week, it feels like right now, like a new crazy sighting or a new fire. Or... Oh, speaking of disasters, so you guys have another hurricane coming, or
It's already on us. I mean, it wasn't really. It's a storm. They call it. It's a nor'easter, but it's still sort of spinning. And it's mostly past us now, but our road's shut out of the island, so we can't go anywhere for at least a day or so. But that's just price of admission for living in a very interesting place that we live in now, you know. But
we need to trade solo sombrero names because me being Hurricane Rico,
Hurricane Lowry, Hurricane Lowry, and Nico, Hurricane Nico.
Heresy Seed. I'm not saying that right. Heresy.
Yeah, Flat Earth to Hyperborea. Thanks for popping through. Ida Hill, thank you.
Jim.
I'm the Craig, Accidental Alchemist.
Carl.
If we missed you, you were early.
Nemo. You guys know who you are. Ray's in here.
Olipio,
Nathan's in
thanks for
here.
popping through.
Nathan's always sending me cool gay stuff.
But yeah, so there's going to be a lot more stuff to talk about as we get further going along. We have next weekend. We're gonna have Weiss back on next weekend. I don't know how far out we're scheduled. We just kind of there was a bit of a lull over the last couple of weeks, primarily because Nico and I have just now gotten ourselves settled after the 5-month odyssey that was this summer. But we're going to be able to talk about a lot of stuff, and I'll do the solo sombrero eventually, and probably in the next week or so I can do that. I'll be doing some stuff on Reckoner, and then we'll just see what happens. I mean, we're right at that point now where I just feel like that there's something really, really boiling up. I don't know what else they could do but pull the plug. If they have an internet plug to pull, I don't know what else they could do because it's so freaking obvious. Everything is now. So, we're going to try to have as many guests as we can get on, and exploring some different avenues. I know there's a lot of contention out there in FE world about a lot of topics, but
I'll try to just ignore it. Like, we have some guests on that don't like other guests. I am never going to buy into that. Me and Lowry were talking about that before we went live. If you guys have problems with each other, that is not my trip. I don't buy into it. I form my own opinions. And once I'm your friend, it's really hard to shake me off. Like, you have to really screw me over. And no one has done that. At least not as bad as I've screwed myself over. But I'm really good at doing that, which is the hurricane thing. But before we go, Lowry, there we go. Lowry's going to play you guys a couple of videos, and this was a short but sweet one. And like he said, we have David Weiss on next Sunday, and I got a few more booked. And thank you guys for tuning in. Hit it, Lowry.
Yeah, and just real quick, the new record's out now. If my previous records weren't, I was fully entrenched in the FE world by the time I wrote this one. So it's basically like a love letter to FE. I don't really write on the nose like Alex Michael. It's just more kind of buried in the lyrics. But I'll play this for you, and I'll play a video to head us out. And again, we love you guys. Thanks for coming through, for sure. So I get some sound on
All right.
this.
Much love, game.
And as far as on the record is concerned, it is you can see the you can get the new record, or you can get the new any song by itself. And there's a little box that pops up too. It's recommended $50 for the entire catalog. It's 60 published songs, but you can put in whatever number you deem appropriate for that. And we'll close it out. Here's one off one of my older records, and we'll see you guys next Sunday at 7 p.m. on TFS. Here we go. This one's Zipped Up Alaska. This is off my second record. Love you guys. Cheers.
Good night.
Are you going to school today? Zipping up the lost code? Kiss your mother goodbye and celebrate. Hold still. That highway's got me. And I'm always grateful. Yeah, I'm always